Thank you for the sub. Forgot to unmute there for a second. What is poppin', my people? Alejito and I got Augustine. What's good? This is a banger that Falls showed me that I've been actually quite obsessed with lately. It's called Blue Giraffe by Sherry Khan. It's really good. It's like what I would imagine like if you took choir music and like house music and like merged it. So really cool song. If you're looking for that style of music, but as always, we're here for the charts. Tunes are just a bonus, so we'll dive right in a second. The weather's been like insanely warm here, so like I don't feel like sick, but like I feel like congested. It's weird. Like last week it was like 40 to 50, and now all of a sudden it's like 70 to 80, and the next week it's gonna go down to like 40 to 60 again. So I got like a nice thing of ice water. Hopefully I don't sound too congested. But let's get going. Big week. I feel that, Alejito. Big week ahead though. Let me quick phase this song out actually and get the mix going for today. I found a new dub techno mix. I don't think I've listened to this one yet. So we'll give it a go. See if it's a vibe or not, but yeah. All right, so BTC last week we did our stream on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. The whole kind of theory or my thought process was I thought we were going to get a pullback, kind of fill this imbalance and go. Clearly, we coiled up and ranged here and then ended up breaking up through the high, which kind of goes like with my ES bias. So it makes sense for me. Let me get quick adjust the levels a little bit. It's a little base heavy. That should be a little bit better. But yeah, we broke up through there. We broke through the daily fair value gap here, kind of like the last one before your buy side liquidity. So it's kind of like there's not really much left for it to take. So I'm questioning, like, is this the confirmation high? I know potentially we were looking at maybe like that high here that just ran it, but I think this could be more promising for a short-term pullback. I'm not expecting anything like major, but I don't like here's what I'd be looking at this point, because ES is kind of starting to get to a point where it's looking like it's pulling back a bit. There's like a weekly imbalance below that we'll dive into and take a look at, that I think is going to get tagged in the next week or two. But ultimately BTC here, the weekly unicorn, yeah, me and Tyler were talking about that in Chroma earlier. We'll take a look at that. But yeah, clear range, obviously like broke out, kind of just up in the air. We were testing that daily fair value gap, but it's not a crazy important level for me. What I could see end up happening is kind of like Bart back down into the range. Maybe get an impulse up for PPI first, clear the highs, and then nuke. I can't really see this pushing up for another leg here, unless maybe this is some sort of like market maker sell model where you have like, this is your original consolidation, this would be like your accumulation, like I guess, but I think it's very overextended. Harmonically you have like that additional confluence, and we do have this big imbalance here that pretty much just got an IOFED, and then pretty much rallied from it like right there. So I do think that's still on the table. TP1 of the harmonic, like the first area where you would look for a TP, is here. So it is getting to a point where you could look for like a potential swing short for like a midterm play. The only thing is, like, I feel like my invalidation would have to be like the monthly, maybe even first set of buy side liquidity. Like, I don't think you're gonna tag 30. Yeah, I'd probably, if I were to short this, I would be doing that, and this would be my target. It's nothing crazy. It's like a modest 2.4. I think you might be able to get a better entry with like tighter stops potentially, but that's ultimately like I do still think this is gonna pull back and give you like a third kind of valley here. I just don't know where the bottom's gonna be, if we're gonna tap into this imbalance, if we're just gonna take this one. But I would like to see 25,000, roughly 200 tagged again before any real upside. So that's kind of like my bias on BTC, but let's dive into actually, we're gonna look at ES, then we'll look at Dixie, and then we'll do the alts. I kind of like doing in that order now, just given where I've been today, or what I've been kind of like looking at market wise. Oh man, this is really rolling over and dying. So ES, kind of my thoughts for rest of the week, and I've been talking to some other guys about this. I don't know if you follow Rec Proofs FX Twitter account, but he posted a lovely long on ES from like back here. Took what, about 8 days or so? No, 6. Yeah, roughly like 6 days to play out. But you did get the full TP for, I think it was like 3.4 hour. It was a really clean play. This almost, I think, like came back to his entry. But now you have relatively equal lows. You have a weekly fair value gap and sell side liquidity, or below the new week opening gap from this week. We have like bearish structure on the H1. So I think ultimately, or what I would personally like to see is some sort of like kind of reclaim overnight, maybe like Asia range, London push up, and then New York during PPI, hopefully like a bearish sell-off down toward this weekly fair value gap, the sell side liquidity. The reason why I think that's an important level is because, one, it's basically like right underneath the, like it's just like a clean level to look at for potential longs as a swing play. You have some major targets for me. The weekly volume imbalance is like where I would be looking. ICC lingo, yeah. MMA, what's good? But I don't know what that one is for. But what I was looking at, hold on one second, because I had different charts for some other stuff. Just trying to clean. No, I want that still. Daily. Here we go. Yeah. So I did a post on Twitter last week about this being like a potential unicorn setup. The only thing is we did like sweep this high here. So ultimately I think like coming back down, taking out the low would make sense, fill that weekly imbalance, and then look for kind of a rally sometime next week or the week after. Because you do have like these highs here. The structure is still bullish, economy, nothing crazy bad has been coming out. So ultimately, like, this is the zone for me in terms of like where I would be looking to position myself long. So I'd say anywhere between, I think I have mine adjusted, so it might be a little different, but in this zone, look for maybe some sort of like H1 confirmation for a structure shift, and then look for a swing long towards here, and just like wait a couple weeks, forget about it. Maybe even, I mean, obviously, like, I'd still take like intraday stuff because I do like that as well. Oh my god, are these perfect? Was it 42.45? 42.40. All right, so technically like it rated, but I mean these are equal enough in my opinion. So yeah, still the game plan is eventually trend up here, take out this imbalance, maybe even go as high as like 44.25, but I don't think you'll get that high. And then I'm expecting eventually come down, clean up these lows. And I would like to see this sell side liquidity down at 32.37 before I'm really like, okay, bottom's in, like, let's go again for another 8-10 years. That's just like me looking at the charts. Like, I know this thing functions very differently. As you can see, it was a straight elevator up from the COVID low, but I definitely think structurally coming down here wouldn't be too out of like bounds for what it's done previously in history. But yeah, yeah, it's had a fair share of run. So we'll see. But yeah, ultimately midterm, like probably rest of the week, I'll be looking for either quick scalp longs or more intraday shorts. Maybe something to hold into Friday. But this weekly fair value gap is like my liquidity objective for the rest of the week for ES. So that's kind of the stick there, the vibe. Let's head on over to Dixie. Yo, Galactic, what is up, bro? So yeah, Dixie was obviously high time frame on the daily. We have this massive market maker sell model, kind of in the last distribution phase. So ultimately, what my two scenarios that I was talking about, I believe in the VC that I did for Chroma on Thursday, was a either kind of push up here, tap into the monthly, and then we drop, or which I think it could still do is come down, take the sell side liquidity here, because the monthly fulfills here. You have the FEG, like the FEG we initially tapped into. You got this sort of thing. Structurally, this looks like it wants to go further down. I'm looking for longs on like EU and GU for swing plays. I think like later on in the week, early next week. So ultimately, I am bearish on this in the midterm until at least the sell side liquidity. Then we'll see the reaction there. There's some other sell side liquidity levels here, and then there's obviously like the fulfill or the EQ where you could see a reaction. This also may just remain untapped for a while. Like we could just end up trending down, complete this market maker sell model, consolidate during the summer, and then ultimately in the fall, that's when you get your little buy model or whatever, and come back up and fill this imbalance, and then everything else like nukes and whatnot. But I think the thing that like interested me the most with this fair value gap is it wasn't like it was directly after it didn't go in. It was like 2-3 months, and it came up almost to the T, but like it literally didn't make it into it. So there is a volume imbalance here as well. So like it probably rejected off that, but this is quite resounding in my opinion, because now you have a balanced price range. So I would expect eventually to kind of get sucked back up. Then maybe we put in the confirmation high on the monthly bat harmonic, something like that. Maybe even get a push higher, fill up the rest of this imbalance, and then you kind of cool off, take out these lows, and you get your next bull cycle in 2024, 2025. I mean, again, this is like monthly chart we're looking at here. So this is gonna, like, this originated back in 2001. Like I was a wee little kid. But yeah, ultimately I do think this is pretty bearish. This is kind of almost also like a mini market maker sell model. The original consolidation here is a little scuffed. You would have your like reaccumulation, or accumulation, reaccumulation, smart money reversal, distribution, redistribution. This would probably be where you'd be looking for your silver bullet. So again, like you could probably get some good long plays tomorrow on Forex and or some indices potentially intraday. Yo, Victor, what's good? But yeah, just keeping my eye on this. Ultimately, the two levels that I'd be watching for is the sell side liquidity here. There is also a weekly fair value gap. I don't know if we ended up tapping into it. Yeah, no, we never quite made it up there. So that is another area where maybe like in the short term you could look for some sort of reaction. You also have a tiny one here, but again, like it's kind of just trending down. So I think sell side liquidity is the clear draw for the rest of the week for me. Unless PPI gives like some crazy reaction where we bounce off it and then we rally. So, but now to everybody's favorite part of the show, we're going to take a look at some alts, going through the list alphabetically. If you have any requests, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will be happy to add them on once I get to it. So Algo was something we looked at last week on stream. I didn't actually take this setup, but it was one I was interested in, given like it's pretty much like a spot on almost unicorn in a sense. as you can see, it's really done nothing. So I still think it's valid. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't go up, but I also did it read that high? It did not. So you do now have two sets of equal highs here, which, I mean, alts are alts. Like, if BTC rolls over and dies, this is probably, given that BTC dominance is kind of high right now, this will probably roll over too. We'll take a look at that actually after we run through a couple alts, see where that stands. Oh, why am I even looking at this? I didn't even look at ETH yet. Sorry. We had the Shanghai news too, I believe. So yeah, ETH is clearly on its own mission, well above the 200 EMA, trending towards this buy-side liquidity, basically 2030, 2K, high time frame resistance. I'm expecting this to ultimately maybe be like kind of like a rejection, come back, take this like trendline liquidity, and then like a heavy rally, because I still am looking for you have two weekly fair value gaps above. We have this bearish bat harmonic that I'm looking for about 3.2K before any sort of high time frame reversal. So I am still uber bullish on it, and I'm actually very bullish on some other coins too. I'm in a big swing long on another alt, but can't disclose that as it's a chroma trade. But yeah, chart looks good. Ultimately, want to see buy side liquidity flipped and held. I don't really have too much to add. We did, let's see, like if I'm looking here, we had this daily fair value gap. It held. This one held. So like we're keep pushing up. So I'm ultimately just expecting maybe the next day or two just like a pop up. I don't see any reason structurally why if it starts like curling over, that's pretty bearish. So that is ETH for you. We need to flip this buy side liquidity, hold it above 2K before I really feel confident and looking for really higher prices. But ultimately in time, BTC did it. I have faith that ETH will make it there as well. So yeah, that's the vibe. Back to some alts. Checking out APT. Let's go back to the daily chart. Man, this thing is, oh wow. You kind of got like, you're getting squeezed here. You got trendline liquidity. You have a massive fair value gap that you barely tapped into. You are rating the lows here, which like isn't a bad look. So well, the only thing, like I'm not like I don't really trade like diagonal levels anymore. Like that's kind of more like a retail trader thing. I'm not like, people make money off it. You can make money off whatever patterns and stuff you use. Like I use harmonics. That's like my secret sauce. But I think this ultimately probably would come down here, maybe like take this low. Like I always try to think of like the scammiest stuff that's gonna like wreck people out. So like probably if I were to guess, like I would say something like this, probably like reclaim that, then retest it, then something like that. Let me fix this. Yeah, something like this would be my guess. Like take out this low, maybe even get like a fat wick that just quickly gets absorbed. But I don't see this not going higher unless like the crypto market absolutely like rolls over. Like it's so primed in my opinion. So not a bad one to pick up. It's just not one I'm currently trading. Oh, whoops. That was some secret sauce. Why did it do that? I hit spacebar. It should take me to the next. I'm gonna just have to click manually. So Atom is one that I've been like steady waiting for a couple months now. Not months, but at least like a couple weeks. I'm just waiting for this 886 level to really buy a massive or not massive, but like a sizable spot bag and just forget about it for a couple years. I mean, you have pretty clear invalidation with the two harmonics, but historically speaking, like this thing, like we saw last cycle, it can do some numbers. So roughly just shy of 69 is like where I'd be looking for a target, which is about like a, if I get in below 10, that's close to like a 7x, which would be huge. So this is like probably like my signature sauce for next cycle in terms of what I'd actually be buying. So we're getting there. I have a bunch of alerts set. I'll start DCAing around 9:30. If we go even lower, I'll probably pick up bags. I think by five under $6 though, for me that's like cutting it because of like the harmonics. Like it would bust. So it just doesn't make sense for me to hold something that would end up like, you know, chopping or just ranging for a while. BNB surprisingly looks pretty good. Still range bound from last week. I think we were like here at the EQ. I love this. It's almost perfect. Just shy of tapping the ice line, but that was that high from all the way back here when we first broke up in February 2021. So that level is kind of a big deal in my opinion. Or even up to 350. If you flip 350, there's a good chance if you can hold above it, you're looking at 400 or 416. But for now, it's still just ranging. There's not much. I would expect this eventually to make a rotation back down. If we throw on fixed range volume profile just to get like a sense. Yeah, it just took value very high. Probably come back down, test POC, chill in the middle, come back down, take that low. There's imbalance here. So yeah, BNB is like meh. Nothing I'm like in love with. Doge, obviously, like last week was the Elon news with the tweeting, or not the tweeting. What was it? He changed the logo for the Doge logo, which is wild. But I was worried about it coming up and taking out the C here because it would kind of invalidate the harmonic, but it ended up not doing it. We did raid the high, and I think that was on, yeah, that was literally right after the stream, or had just happened on Tuesday, and lo and behold, we rolled over. We're back under this. So yeah, I still think we're gonna go lower eventually. We have a pretty clear like high, I guess you could play. Like for me, if I was to short this, it would be something like, I don't know where the price is currently. I gotta fix it. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, the thing is like a 2-hour trade. It's not like, and it's for like the time it would take. You'd have to be like sized up a considerable amount to make it worth your while. But yeah, I would be interested in a long if we come back below the 4 cents level. Right around 2.5 cents is where I'd want to average in. And then yeah, sky's the limit with this. I don't know if you'll ever get to $1. I think I just had it for fun, but even if you held it for like these relative highs here, like equal highs, that's still like 10x. Like it's crazy. But yeah, Doge and Atom so far are the two for next cycle. I'm just keeping an eye on for spot bags. ETH we looked at. LDO, I might take this off the watch list. This has been like one of the most boring coins to watch. Yeah, Jay, we can definitely check out INJ. We'll look at that next, actually, or after Link, because I try to look at it alphabetically. This thing ultimately, to me, just looks like a big Head and Shoulders. Like, does not look great. You are probably holding some trend line. I mean, at this point, I don't even know. Like, there, very subjective, but or maybe if you do it from the candle closure instead. I don't know. But yeah, it's not really doing much here. It's just kind of range bound. You did take the lows here. We're holding, but like structure on H4 is still bearish. if you say this is like your original consolidation, maybe this is your, what would this be, your low risk sell, first distribution, second distribution, so your silver bullet. Oh, I don't even, did it tap into that fair value gap, or was it just shy? I think it was just shy, yeah. So maybe we come up again, take that, and then kind of come down, but I think $2 around there would be like a good target if it can't reclaim structure here. So like, yo, Pags, what's up, bro? 249 would be like kind of the pivot for me in terms of like longs and short. But yeah, I could see this ultimately being like original consolidation. The only thing that I'm not crazy about is there's no real place where it took liquidity from. Like, you could argue, yeah, we rated this high here, but I would have wanted this high taken, which you never did. So kind of iffy on it. I don't really care for this chart. I don't think it doesn't do anything for me. There's so many better looking altcoins. But let's check out INJ. Oh baby, see, this is a good looking chart. I mean, not saying it's a good time to buy, but if you had been in since like a month ago, you're doing pretty well. So I'll show you guys just how I mark up my ice lines with this. I think it's pretty interesting. So that for me would be like a key level, maybe even like the wick high there. Yeah, you can see pretty much back here you retested it almost perfectly. Probably that first swing low, which I plotted incorrectly. Yeah, then maybe, yeah, because it's like a little range here, a lot of taps of the lows, and then kind of comes up, holds above. You can see it comes up here, taps. It's like your spring and retest for like Wyckoff traders. Up here, probably just do that first wick high, and then this wick up here, almost as like a zone. You can see here it held the support, but then when it came back down, dropped back to the original level, came down, you swept that low, took all that liquidity and ran. See, this is where it gets kind of tough because there's not really enough structure or price action for me to like, yeah, probably just that one. And then I'd have to wait to see how this kind of develops here. But yeah, that's how I like markup levels in terms of ice lines and stuff. But this looks really strong, I guess. It's overextended. Not something I would be touching. Pretty much the major high to low, because I wouldn't, I mean, I guess you could also argue doing it from here. Look at that, the 2618 right at 599. Look at that test, banger, absolute banger. Flawless, what's up? Yeah, so 3618. I mean, like, if you're talking, and then let me see actually if there's any other confluence with this high to low here. We'll stack those fib retracements. Yeah, 2618. Yeah, that's so neat. You came up and then you couldn't get the closure above the 1618 for the other one. But yeah, and wick into it. But yeah, roughly 7.82 would be like your next fib level. There's not much more like after that, like reason to go up that high. Let's see if there's anything on lower time frame, like harmonic, like any sort of bearish harmonic. Not seeing anything shape up. I think this might have been something though. I mean, not the best place for a harmonic, but 1.19, so this would qualify. Yeah, this would pretty much be a cipher. This is like the one on Atom from way back when. Hold on. Oh no, I gotta go to like the daily. Yeah. So this would be like a cipher. just didn't quite make the test to the 786. It got front ran a little bit, but it is in a bullish uptrend, so like that's understandable. ETH, Dylan, we looked at ETH already. If you go back in the video, you can rewatch it. But yeah, this is clearly like kind of one of those things. Don't step in front of like a moving train. I think that's the analogy, or moving bus. I don't know. But yeah, this looks good. Obviously, it played out to all the targets of the harmonic. I don't see anything bearish really. The only thing really that you have here is the rate of the high, but there's no structural shift, and that's only on H1. Like H4, like I mean, I guess if you got like a displacement move, came down. Like if you asked me where I would be looking for in terms of short-term targets, I guess like it would make sense to almost yeah, you have your 618 would be there, but that would be a pretty deep retrace. We are holding at the 236 from just like the kind of relatively local high to low. You could probably even do it more like that, but I think this makes more sense contextually. So yeah, it's the 382, probably go back, get a reaction, chop around a bit, then eventually come down. Like I think this is going to be a magnet, that $6 area with that fair value gap. So definitely something to keep in mind. Oh my god, I can hear my chinchillas running on the wheel. It's popping off. So yeah, that's INJ, not engine, different. Yeah, very bullish. Hopefully, yeah, and there's also daily fair value gap alongside the 4-hour one, so we'll see. I'll add it to the watch list so I can reevaluate it next time we go through the alts. Let's continue. We also have Link. Man, this one never ceases to amaze me how long an asset can be range bound. I don't know what's been range bound longer, this or the ETH to BTC chart, but man. Next, oh man, did not mean to do. I don't know why the spacebar, every time I hit it, it jumps up to the top, which is not what I want to do. So, oopsies. I'll have to take it off my watch list next time. Mana. I mean, you did. What was this, a daily fair value gap? That was back in beginning of March. It's kind of like very boring. Like it's not really doing anything here. Just a lot of sideways price action, but no real like volatility movement. Harmonically, I could see it going up a bit higher before like coming back down, but you could also just be like doing a Gartley. Should be something like that. Not the best looking harmonic, but again, if markets pull back a bit, alts are pushed down, this could definitely come down, and I think that 40-cent area would be a good place to look for potential longs. You have a clear invalidation with that high time frame low from back here at 37.31. So yeah, nothing great on Mana. I'm sure like most of the other coins like that don't look too great. Let's quick look at BTC dominance. Oh man, what a beauty. Look at that market structure rate, the raid and the break. Did it again up here. Man, this thing can't stop, won't stop. Is there any sort of a unicorn? No. Kind of like the twanginess of the song. It's like very robotic-y. Oh, false. You missed it before. We played Blue Giraffe as the intro song for today. I mean, like, I don't think people trade this. I think you can. I know you can trade BTC volatility. I don't know if you can trade the dominance. I think Delta might offer it. If so, someone correct me if I'm wrong or if they know, but we do have now a balanced price range here. So I would expect BTC to continue pushing up over the next week or so. This could be like bottoming behavior, and like this actually looks pretty interesting. Oh my gosh, that 886. I mean, technically you would do it here because that's the higher high, but even so, they're at the same level. But the 886, you can see it does not let it go by, and it's that old low. Oh wait, no, it's not. That's the low from here, but it's that initial low set here. So yeah, looks good. BTC's strong. If we reject from the 50% area, I could see alts getting like a little bull cycle, but for now, like I think BTC is still king. Matic was one we looked at last week. Still kind of waiting for my play on that. Another one that like in the midterm would be a good long. I'm gonna quick switch the songs. Yeah, that's more like techie, melodic-ish, I guess. Yeah, this could be a while. I'll set some alerts really quick just to see if it comes down there. My dog's like popping off, so apologies if you can hear that. Near, what is this? I don't even remember drawing this line. Oh, I was talking, I think last stream about it being just kind of like a support resistance level, which looks like we're now breaking through again. So this could finally get some time to shine. One of the ones that we're actually going to look at in a second, Tuesday last week, I did post like a setup for it and actually did perform very well. It was a Soul. Same harmonic, which is a butterfly harmonic. However, if you were watching last week, we had marked this up on, or 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks ago? So when did Tuesday last week would have been, oh yeah, it must have been 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago on stream, we marked this up. Took a while, but finally getting some price action movement. And I still think ultimately it will eventually go there as kind of like a 3-tap to a range high. So, and then I think ultimately if we are going to get like a more midterm bull run or whatever you want to call it, like I think these highs at $40 got to go. Like there's no reason for them to still be like around. Sushi was another one that I took on stream just given the harmonic. I kind of liked it. Slowly trending, but again, it's like one of those alts that just kind of like Link, it just doesn't do much. So greener pastures in other places in the crypto sphere. Alrighty, we checked out pretty much my watch list. We'll look at total really quick. Man, my throat. And then I do want to look at the alt chart. So yeah, this looks great. I think ultimately you have a lot of like, this could just kind of get sucked up if liquidity comes back into the market and we do get that kind of midterm cycle. Let's go over to Forex. We looked at Dixie before. Oh wait, before I look at that. Oh my God. Look at this. Oh man, this feels good when you hit it like this. I promise you, and anybody who watches my streams regularly can attest, I have not touched these lines at all since I posted them back in like mid-March. My thesis is playing out fairly well. We didn't go as high as I was expecting, but we have come back down. So I'm expecting probably another slow grind for a little bit, fill that inefficiency, and then I think eventually we are going to push down and out. And then from there, that's once we hit this PCZ, then I'm gonna start looking for that ETH confirmation on ETH chart to look for longs. And this, yeah, ETH will have its time to shine. Just give it time. You got to be patient. Probably my guess, if it follows the squiggle time wise, like across the x-axis, this looks like probably like July-ish, April, like probably somewhere between May, June, July. I would expect ETH to be rallying hard. You can quote me on that, but yeah, have this weekly imbalance above, just waiting to be, because this is not fully mitigated. It does not mitigate it. This is just a little tap. Yeah, this liquidity is gonna build and it's gonna pop. I feel it in me. If it honestly, if it dropped and we had like a huge weekly BART, I'd be pretty shocked. So we'll trade my bias until it's no longer valid. Euro, man, this thing looks crisp. Weekly looks really good. We have a monthly fair value gap up here at about, what is it, 10 or 110, 800, give or take. Ultimately, though, I think this is a good short-term target, just the buy-side liquidity. You did probably tap into, or you're getting close. Like, you could look for the EQ of that wick to be about 1.10110-ish, or 117. It's about like 150 pips. So yeah, could be a potential good trade there. I would be waiting for probably the news driver tomorrow with PPI, or just wait till after and look for some scalps. But that, I think, is your draw liquidity. This is more the high time frame one, because additionally we could also pull back here and then kind of go up, and you get like your well, we didn't take liquidity here, so I wouldn't really call it a unicorn, but structurally it's very clean, like 1, 2, 3, what's the 3 rising valleys, one of my favorite patterns. So I definitely think that could play out. GU though, something I talked about in Chroma was the fact that we had finally taken out this buy side liquidity after the 3 tap. Hold on one sec, I am not vibing with this. No. Alright, let me go to like a different mix. There we go, some more like, some proper like deep house vibes. Oops, there we go. I'm trying to find like the sweet spot so it's not like too loud, but it's not like quiet. There we go. So yeah, this thing is a beast. You gotta give credit to Joker. He posted a chart. I believe it was on Twitter. Hold on, before I leak something that's from his like Discord. Let me double check, make sure my sources are right. Alright. No, I don't see it on his Twitter, so I'm not going to say anything about what he posted, but my bias, and something I talked about in Chroma, was I wanted to see the range high hold. I wouldn't be surprised if we wicked below, which we did. So now I'm looking for this monthly fair value gap as the high time frame draw liquidity. Kind of aligns with the same bias on EU. You do have a buy side liquidity about 1.26. I think that's a great like target on the way. I'm actually gonna mark that out. So pay attention to this, because the EU to GU, or not EU to GU, but the Euro to pound chart, again, I do still think it eventually wants to go lower. Euro has been pushing up quite a bit the past few days, but you have this imbalance here that's just waiting to be sucked down. You have all these like, it's just slowly kind of like going, and I think it's gonna drop. So if you're looking for like a long as a swing, I think pound is the better choice. Intraday, it's a different story, but unless you started like changing structure and really breaking above these highs, like this is my bias over the coming weeks and months. I don't know how long this will take to play out, because this is from March 2022, so it's about a year in the making, this big Gartley. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like the usual stuff I run through on stream. I'm happy to answer any one-off questions either about like trading, my style, technical stuff, chart requests, if anybody has anything. I'll just be chilling for a couple more minutes, and then if not, we'll wrap this bad boy up. Take a minute from talking. My throat is like, ugh. Yeah, we're starting to curl up on ES. See, like, would I take anything outside of session here? Where's the... The thing is, there's no... I mean, like, you can argue, I guess, like, down here you have, like, your structure shift, but... I think for me, more so, what I'd be interested in is this, volume imbalance. Thing is, like, I don't know where I would put a stop. Because I don't trust those lows. I wouldn't be surprised if it came back down and like, but I also could just pop. Like, where would I want to get involved? I guess like here, and then you could kind of, yeah, 2R like that. That to me wouldn't be like a terrible trade if it pushed down a bit. I don't know. I don't like trading outside of session. Usually it doesn't end up in good results, so I'm not going to like force anything live. I do have only about like 8 more weeks left of teaching for the school year. Or no, I think it's 9. Sorry, 9 weeks. So this summer I'll definitely be doing some live VC sessions during New York Killzone and New York AM and PM in Chroma, as well as maybe every now and like once a week, maybe I'll do like a regular stream. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. You kind of have my bias for most things, as that's what we usually run through. Hopefully you got some value and insight into the markets. As always, you can always hit me up on Twitter and or in Chroma Discord. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you later in the charts. Peace.